It's very early, it's about 4 a.m. now, and today is the day that we are bringing our van to the port in Brunswick, Georgia, where it's gonna go on a boat to Zeebrugge, Belgium, and then we're gonna pick her up there in the port, go on our European road trip. Day is here, it's finally finished. We're gonna drop off the van to the port in Brunswick, and we're excited because it's finally ready. And we're gonna drop it off to the port where they're gonna put it on a boat on May 14th all the way to Zeebrugge, Belgium, and then we're gonna go pick it up there the beginning of June. And then we're gonna take our van to do a road trip through Italy, France and Spain. And then we're planning on shipping it back to the United States. So in this video, we're gonna talk a little bit more about what we did and how we did the whole process, and how how easy or hard it was. So for starters, look for a shipping company that has experience with overlanding vehicles or overlanders or anything like that. So we went with IVSS UK. They're a company based in the United Kingdom. There's other companies like Seabridge out there. However, they were a lot more expensive, and Seabridge was really pushing for me to ship the van out of Baltimore instead of out of Brunswick, which Brunswick is a lot closer for us because we're in Florida. So it's only 4 hours away as opposed to Maryland would have been at least 13, 14 hours away. So just out of, just to make it easier for us, we chose Brunswick, and it goes pretty much straightforward directly over there to Belgium. It makes one stop, I believe, in Germany, and then it goes straight forward to Belgium. What we did is we contacted all the shipping companies, asked them what the prices were, what the possibility was to insure it, and then when you insure your van, you got to have all the receipts to make sure that they you can't just put a value on it of $1 million and gamble that something will happen to it and you'll get $1 million. So they got to see all the receipts if something goes wrong and you file a claim. We insured our van for $125,000, which is less than what it's worth, but it's you gotta make a choice there somewhere, because marine insurance is pretty expensive. So you gotta pay for your shipping once the boat leaves, and there's a bunch of costs that are up front that are get added, depending from $100 to $200. One of them is what we just called for. Casey called the port and booked a escort. So unless you have a TWIC card, you can't go in the port by yourself. You got to be escorted by a port escort, and these people are trained to go in the port. So that for is $190 for the first 2 hours. So when you're in the port, then you got to take pictures. But you'll see all of that. I'll try to film as much as we can. When you're in the port, you got to take pictures, do an inventory, and then you're leaving the vehicle with them, and you'll pick it back up on the other side of the world, which is really exciting. And then the same happens there. So you can't leave the port of destination before you check everything. You can actually leave, but you cannot file a complaint or you cannot file a claim anymore if something is wrong once you left the port. So it has to happen the moment you're still in the port. You got to do everything, and then if anything is wrong, damaged or stolen or whatever, you just have to file a claim right there, so they know that the vehicle was still in their possession when something happened. Other than that, it's pretty all straightforward. So IVSS, they were amazing to deal with. They were on top of things. As soon as we figured out the date, and the way we did it is we're going over there at the beginning of June, and the van already arrives on May 30th. So we have about a week to spare in between our van arriving and us being there. So if the boat has a 2 or 3 day delay, we'd still be on time to pick up the van and it wouldn't affect our trip. Also in Zeebrugge, I don't know any other ports, but over there you can keep the van there for about I believe they said 2 weeks without any additional fees. Anything over that, after it arrived, you got to start paying a daily storage fee. But other than that, it's all pretty straightforward. So we made the choice of traveling with our own van in Europe, because we looked to rent vans in Europe or an RV or whatever. The problem that we have is in Europe, everything is, the RVs don't have tanks, so it's all with a cassette toilet. Casey doesn't do cassette toilets at all. So from that standpoint, we had to use our own van. Other than that, you get about 100 kilometers a day, which equals out to about 70 miles. And everything else is $1 to $1.50 a day in added kilometers. If you want to do a whole road trip across Europe through Italy, Spain, France, I mean, needless to say that'll cost a lot of money in added fees. Also, they don't include bedding. So if you're deciding to rent an RV in Europe, you got to make sure that you find bedding somewhere, and then what are you going to do with it after your trip? I mean, bedding takes up a lot of space in a suitcase, so we have our own bedding with us. The beauty of shipping an RV is you can have everything in your RV or in your van as long as it looks empty. In other words, nothing can be laying around in the main area, but as long as everything is put away in the cabinets and where it belongs, and all the stuff is related to you camping, you can bring sports gear, all that, you know, as long as it's related to camping, you can bring it pretty much. Can't bring any hazardous materials or anything like that, obviously. Also, you can't bring any weapons of some sorts. So all of those things you got to be careful with. But other than that, it's all good. So our boat is going to be the Taipan. It's a boat from WWL. I believe it's Wallenius Wilhelmsen is the shipping company, or is the company of the boat. And they have a whole list about what you can take and what you can't take. So there's a whole list about RVs or vans or campers, and then the whole list of approved items, and there's a whole list of stuff you absolutely cannot take. So again, if you read up a lot and make sure you do your due diligence. IVSS UK was good for us out of Brunswick, and I'll let you know in Belgium once we pick up the van how good they really were, because you know we won't know until we pick up the van how good it is, or how straightforward it is, or if you don't have any damage or nothing got stolen. We won't know until we're there, obviously. But we don't leave any valuables in the van. It's also not recommended to do so. No electronics, no valuables, no laptops, cameras, anything like that. Also, we are taking our plates out or off the van and take them with us. They said American plates are highly collectible, and a lot of people in Europe want them, so they're afraid they would take them off the van and we would be there without any plates. So that's something that you might consider. Also, something I haven't found any coverage on. There's other YouTube videos about people shipping their vans to Europe, and for some reason they're all from two-plate states. Like there's people from California, they have 2 plates. There's people from New York, they have 2 plates. There are people from Canada, they have 2 plates. Florida's a 1-plate state. I just wanted to make sure that it was okay to drive in Europe, and so I called people I know over there, and they informed me that it's actually not okay to drive at 1 plate. So they recommend to have a second plate. So I ordered a Florida lookalike plate and had the same combination put on as my official plate, and I'm gonna put that one on the front of my van. That way we don't have to worry about you know, getting pulled over and not be able to have a plate. We will just put one on just out of safety. It takes a lot of planning and a lot of, you know, because we're going to be gone for about 3 weeks. Then we're coming back to the United States, then we're going back for 3 weeks. And then the plan as it stands now is to ship the van back to the US once we completed our second road trip there. Other than that, Casey, you have anything to add?
Read your paperwork before you head to the port.
Yeah, I didn't read my paperwork. Casey read the paperwork. So apparently you had to book your escort 1 day in advance. We didn't do that, but we got away with it because yesterday was Sunday and the port was closed, so we couldn't call to book our escort 1 day in advance. So we just told them that we will be there around 9:50 this morning, and then hopefully that's going to be a smooth process. We're about 20 minutes, 27 minutes away from the port. So we'll keep you guys updated on how it goes. But so far, so good. I'm very excited. The van is ready. Again, it looks beautiful. I'm very happy with it. And after 2.5 years of building, it's finally done. We literally did not have a day to spare. We had to yesterday. It was actually very funny. Well, funny and not funny. Because I worked until about 12:30 last night to get everything done and ready. I was building drawers yesterday afternoon at like 5 p.m. Still building drawers, painting, getting all the stuff done that really needed to be done to travel. Other than that, another topic that is very important about taking your van to Europe, you have to have your van paid off. You cannot have a loan on your van, because otherwise you gotta ask permission to your lender to release the title, and they most likely won't do that. I haven't read any stories about lenders releasing titles for people to take the vehicle out of the country, because if you don't bring it back and you don't pay for it, they can't possibly get that vehicle back. So then they're out their money, because the port needs the title, they need a copy of it, and then they need the official title on date of delivery, and then they will ship it back to you. You have to have a label, shipping label that you give them, and then they send it back to you together with your original registration of the van. So you really can't get around that. So the vehicle has to be paid off, and then the other thing is road insurance. That's one of these other things that is like a little bit of a search, because you don't want to, I mean, you have to have insurance to drive around in Europe, but you have to, your American insurance doesn't work there. So you have to have European insurance. And usually it covers all of the European Union states. So we start in Belgium, then we're going through Austria, we're going to Italy, Switzerland, France, Spain, back into France. But I mean, that's not a problem. Everything is covered by that insurance. We are only taking liability insurance because the full coverage insurance is crazy expensive, and then you have a deductible of like 2,500 euros per event, and they only cover up to 75,000 euros. So this van's worth much more anyways, and I believe it's like, I believe it was more than $2,000 or euros for 1 month of full coverage insurance. So we didn't do that. We're just gonna do a $200 a month liability insurance. So the van's probably gonna be there for about 3 months. So we're gonna be out $600 on insurance. So that's something you gotta calculate in as well, how much that's gonna cost you and how much, you know, plus you have to have it. It's not that you can choose, am I gonna do the insurance or am I not gonna do the insurance? You gotta have the insurance. So those are the things that I would recommend up to now. I will drop a link in the comments of the insurance company that we went to, where you can fill out an application. Also, camping in Europe is kind of different than camping in the United States. None of the campgrounds have sewer or have any hookups. The only hookup you have is with electricity, and it's literally with a long extension cord that you go to the nearest electricity box. So it's not like in the United States where you have your site and everything is nice and clean and uniform and everybody parks this way. In Europe, here's your site and you can park whichever way you want, as long as you fit within that site. No water hookups, no dedicated water hookups. There are no picnic tables, so you gotta have your own camping table. So Casey went to Target last night and got a camping table because we read about it, and you have to have your own camping table, otherwise you can't. There are none that are there by the campgrounds. So those are little differences. I'm sure once we're starting to camp in Europe in about a month, it's gonna be different. How much more we're gonna be able to talk about that, the differences in camping in Europe versus camping in the United States. I'm looking forward to it. I think our Sprinter will be extremely big in Europe. In the US, everything is big, all the roads are big. In Europe, there's some narrow historic town center, city center roads. So we're just gonna stay out of the historic city centers. So we parked at the port. We put our Jeep here in the visitor parking lot. I asked a police officer that I saw here if I could park here, and he said yes, and it says visitor parking everywhere. So now I have to wait to get in line to go to the port. As you can see, there is a line and it goes all the way over there into the port. So now we wait. Moving to the front of the line. Casey's reading the news and she's very excited. I don't know that I can film over there.
I'm gonna have to wait here.
But why?
It says no firearms or weapons.
Oh my god. So that went a little bit too smooth so we got kicked out of the port and we have to wait in the gravel parking lot across the street for our escort to arrive. I just sent them a text and hopefully they'll be here soon. But we're sitting here. There's some other trucks here and some people around. I'm not sure for what, but this is where we're waiting. Oh, we're here still in the parking lot. We're waiting for the escort to come back. They just escorted 2 big trucks out, so we're gonna see when they are back. And then in the meantime, I'll show you where we are. So we're waiting here. It's like an overflow lot where we're waiting. And I'm gonna walk around it because I'm gonna use this as proof for a little bit too that everything is good, that the van is in the port, and it's do a quick walk around just to show that everything is good the way we delivered it. They polished on that thing. 2 people a whole day. It looks brand new again. It is brand new. It only has like 2,800 miles, but I mean, it's sitting out that long most.
If I could just get you to initial right there and then sign the bottom.
Say bye to the van! So we got our escort. Unfortunately, Casey's dropped off back at the car. She's no longer with me here because apparently only one person is allowed into the port, and it has to be the person that is on the documentation, which is me. So I'm gonna drop it off. My escort's right here in front of me in this car. So we're gonna drop it off. From what I heard, it should be very simple from here. I should get a signed doc receipt. So I think we're gonna drop it off here, and you know, hopefully in 4 weeks. So today is 4 weeks away from the day we pick it up. So I'm looking forward to 4 weeks from now. It's gonna be 4 weeks of anxiety, you know, being afraid of, you know, not having my van, and it just got finished. So, but I mean, I think it all will be fine. I mean, several people have shipped their vans to Europe without any problems. So. We're in our Jeep now, and we're on our way back home. We left the Sprinter in the port, took the license plate with us. I was working to do the last stuff until like midnight or 12:30 last night on the van. Casey cleaned until like 11 o'clock or 11:30, and then we got up at like 3:45 this morning. The process was, because we didn't know, so we take our van and we were like, all right, let's drop off the Jeep, because we were towing it, we were flat towing our Jeep. So we were like, yep, let's drop it off in the parking lot. We drop it off, and then like all the big boys, we were driving our van straight into the port. But that didn't last long, because they immediately kicked us out. You didn't have a TWIC card, so if you want to drive in the port without an escort, you need to apply for a TWIC card. So then we went in the port. I was the only one that could go, because I'm on the paperwork. Casey had to stay behind. So we dropped the van off in the port. I followed the escort. Had to go to like an office, and she asked for my title. And then she asked for the doc receipt, which my shipper was emailed us all the documents ahead of time. So we just had to print everything. So they asked us for those documents, stamped everything off, and then I had to, of course, park the Sprinter where they told us to park it. After it was parked, it's a very fun fact though, because you see where the boat is gonna be. There was currently a different boat there, because ours doesn't leave until next Sunday on the 14th. So, but there was a ship there, and so everything that comes off the boat is parked facing away from the boat. Everything, it's all on the same parking lot, because one row could be coming from the boat, and the next row to the boat, the other row. So in order for them to know what comes off the previous ship and what goes with the next one, so everything that is going is parked facing towards the boat. Everything that is arriving is parked facing away from the boat. We dropped it off, and then they told us to take pictures, so we could take all the pictures we wanted to. And then basically, you know, I checked everything one last time, make sure everything was off. And then the scary moment, where you need to leave your van unlocked with all your stuff in it, and then you need to put your key in the cup holder and leave. So we are on our way home now, and hopefully the van will be reunited with us in 4 weeks, fully intact in Zeebrugge, Belgium. I wouldn't care if, you know, some minor things get stolen, because I'm already kind of banking on that, you know. And I think if you do, you kind of come to terms with the fact, I just don't want any damage. That's the only thing. I'd rather not have any damage than, you know, someone wants to steal my underwear, have at it. Hey guys, Future Stain here. So, little update. When we got the van in Belgium, all our clothes did get stolen. So someone somewhere has a great time in my underwear right now. But no damage on the van. None of our gear got stolen. Like all the hoses, the stuff we took, the tools, etc. All was still here. So that was great. But all our clothes, unfortunately, did get stolen. So the moment we arrived in Belgium, we had clothes for about 2 days, and then we had to go shopping and get our clothes for the rest of the trip. But you know, it all worked out. Like I said, it's better not to have any damage on the van than to end up, you know, with a bunch of damage that you then have to fix in a country that is, you know, not yours, etc. And you have to buy a bunch of tools. So all in all, it worked out for us great. But I would recommend take your clothes in the suitcase. Do not leave them in the van. I'll gladly buy new underwear. We didn't leave any valuables in the van, so there's nothing really there for them to steal or something where they're gonna go like, oh my god, this is gonna be so amazing. It's more so a thing of, you know, whatever is there is there. Garden hoses, you know, extension cords. We didn't even take our grill with us because it gave us some trouble with the connection, so I'm not even gonna risk it. For $100 and something, you can buy a gas grill with the right fittings in Europe. So we're gonna use that for the 6 weeks that we're there, and then 6 weeks, you know, I think it's 172 euros. You know, if you go out once to eat or twice, you're already paying that amount. So we're just gonna go ahead and buy a gas grill over there in Europe and then put it in the van. But all in all, the process was really quick, really good. So then the escort put me in her car, escorted me back to the parking lot where Casey was waiting in the Jeep. Then you gotta have your title work done. So then you gotta bring your original title for your vehicle, and you have to bring your what is that called?
Registration.
Your registration. We already got the registration back. She didn't need that, but she just wanted to see it. And then the dog stamp, the dog receipt, that was stamped. She needed that. So all these documents are gonna go to customs, and then they want to, they have 72 hours to basically inspect the van to make sure we're not smuggling anything or we're not having anything in the van that we shouldn't or can't. The guy even asked us when we dropped it off, he goes like, do you have any spices in there? And we're like, well, yeah, but they're sealed, they're new. He goes like, everybody has spices. He goes like, that's why I'm asking. He goes like, technically you're not allowed, but he goes like, everybody has spices. So other than that, we didn't have any food. Water tanks are empty. We went over a whole checklist of things that we needed to do. Gas was just at, or diesel was just at a quarter of a tank, which is the maximum that you can have to go on the ship. So within 72 hours, she is going to email our shipper, and then they will email us, and then we're basically gonna have the, you know, good to go sign of, you know, the van is custom cleared, and then it's gonna go, it's for sure gonna be shipped. So we're waiting on all of that to book our flight. I would wait until you get your go ahead of when the boat for sure is leaving, because then you can, you know, anticipate your flights and anticipate your travel. We haven't booked any campgrounds in Italy yet. We're planning to do that kind of on the fly, but you know, we're not booking our flights until I know for a fact that my van is on that boat, and two, that boat has left the port of Brunswick, meaning it's on its way to Zeebrugge, Belgium. And people travel, people jump on an airplane, but your car usually stays in the same continent. And this is kind of a special experience because we're gonna drive our van over the Alps, over the Pyrenees Mountains this summer. We're gonna take it to the coast in Barcelona. We're gonna go all over Italy. We're gonna be in Venice with it. We're gonna be in Rome with it. Milan, Lake Garda, yeah, the Amalfi Coast. We're gonna drive the Amalfi Coast in our van. I will document that. So later on, I mean, it's gonna have so many good memories. The next step is gonna be basically us getting the go ahead on Sunday of, hey, the boat left, and then we're gonna be able to track the boat. And at which point we will then, I think, book our flight tickets and get everything prepared for us to actually travel to Europe. It's going to be fairly easy because we're staying at my parents' house the first day. We're going straight from the airport to the port, pick up the Sprinter, go to the supermarket, fill it up with food, and then go to my parents' house, clean it out, and the next day is when we're gonna leave towards Austria and then into Italy.